But Trump, he walked away. Not Iran, Trump walked away. Trump made the United States the international outlier.
Okay, let's see if we can get a steer about what the Iranian government is thinking about this. Mohammad Marandi is a political analyst and a professor at Tehran University. Always a pleasure to see you, Mohammad. What do you think about the Supreme Leader and the President's feelings about this? Would they like the United States to be back in the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal, as it stands now, or would they like to see it changed?
Well, as you pointed out, or as your report pointed out, it wasn't Iran that left the agreement. Even Biden admitted that. It was the United States. And I recall quite vividly being on TRT and on Al Jazeera, CNN, and the BBC, and a host of other news outlets 3-4 years ago saying that Trump will not achieve his goal. And it was what I said was met with a lot of skepticism. And I said that the Iranians will not bow down to pressure from the United States, even though Trump used the most barbaric means possible to harm ordinary Iranians. He basically tried to impose a starvation siege on the country. This maximum pressure campaign is to make women and children suffer and die. That is the purpose. And no one in the political establishment, whether Democratic or Republican or among the EU, no one condemned this, no one was outraged. But Iran stood its ground because that is an issue of sovereignty. And now Biden knows that the only way forward is for a change in policy. So if the United States abides by the deal, Iran will definitely abide by the deal. But of course, the Iranians also say that the United States has to compensate in some way or form, whether it's through directly or through removing extra sanctions, or the Europeans give some sort of concession, not within the framework of the JCPOA or the nuclear deal itself, but as compensation in general, because unless there is a price paid for what has happened over the past 4 years, they will still have the incentive to use these sanctions against ordinary people again. So if the United States moves towards implementing what they've agreed to do, the Iranians will move forward as well. So the ball is in the American court, not in the Iranian court.
I mean, the JCPOA has a time frame. It's not an endless agreement. And as it moves forward, various parts of that deal, they change, of course. And what we know is that Donald Trump has wanted to enforce the deal almost, it seems, in perpetuity, despite the fact that he pulled his country out of it. So if Biden comes back into it, again, I just wanted to get an idea if you know anything about the thinking of the government in Iran about, as this deal progresses, is it happy with every stage of the progress, or would it want possibly to renegotiate some elements to it? Because Biden, you never know, he might be open to that.
No, the Iranians will not accept any change to the deal, not a single word. There will be nothing added to the deal, nothing removed to the deal. Iran will accept no conditions, no regional issues, nor military issues will be allowed to become linked to the deal. The Iranians, the Americans, the Europeans, the Russians, and the Chinese negotiated for many years to achieve this deal. Many in Iran don't like the deal. Many say it's a terrible deal. Some say it's a great deal. Some say it's somewhere in between, like myself. But regardless of whether you like it or not, Iran accepted the deal, and they abided by the deal in full. That's what the International Atomic Energy Agency said repeatedly. But the Americans under Obama violated the deal repeatedly, and under Trump, of course, they tore it apart. So the problem never lied in Tehran. The problem was never in Tehran, but the problem was in the United States. So if it's going to be solved, it has to be solved in the United States. The Americans cannot demand anything from Iran, and the Americans will get nothing from Iran, because the Americans have seen under Trump, they achieved nothing. And in fact, Iran has grown stronger, regardless of the problems that they've caused inside the country economically and the hardship that they've imposed upon the people. But Iran is more resilient today, and Iran's allies across the region are more resilient. And the United States is much weaker today than it was a few years ago, economically, and now the crisis in the United States, the crisis at home and the divide that we see in the United States. So it's in the interest of the United States to behave reasonably and simply implement what they promise to implement, abide by their commitments. But of course, the Iranians will also expect some sort of compensation, because the Americans helped kill ordinary women and children, cancer patients, among others, and there has to be a price for that. They have to pay a price.
Mohammad, as always, thank you very much indeed. Mohammad Marandi speaking to us from Tehran.